Now let's look at the number line model. If you look at this number line, you can see that it is split into three sections. Sometimes that can be tricky to spot because we want to count the sections over here, or we want to count the vertical lines splitting the number line. I like to try to visualize the number line as a rectangular area model. In doing so, I can now very clearly see that the number line is split into three sections, meaning our denominator will be 3. I'm going to plug in 3 as the denominator in my two empty boxes. If this spot represents 0 out of 3, then this would be 1 out of 3, or 1/3, and this would be 2 out of 3, or 3/3. When we get to the end of the number line, 1 can also be represented as a fraction 3/3, meaning 3 out of 3, or 1 whole. As I'm sure you've noticed by now, there are green X's on all of our number lines. This is showing where 1/3 lies on the number line. For the next number line, we want to figure out which fraction is represented by this X. We first need to figure out how many sections our number line is split into. We can do that by counting jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or we can visualize it again as a rectangular area model. We can now clearly see that this number line is split into 6 sections. So we need to plug 6 in as our denominator in all of our empty boxes. If this section of the number line represents 0, this would be 1 out of 6, or 1/6, 2 out of 6, or 2/6, 3 out of 6, or 3/6, 4 out of 6, or 4/6, 5 out of 6, or 5/6, and again, 6 out of 6 is 6/6, or 1 whole. Let's take one more look at the bottom number line. This number line is cut into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, or cut into fourths. So we will start again by labeling our denominator in the 3 empty boxes. Because this is 0 out of 4, this line represents 1 out of 4, or 1/4, 2 out of 4, or 2/4, 3 out of 4, or 3/4, and 1 whole represented as 4/4. We can see that the X is at the location of 2/4 on the number line. In the coming weeks, you will be asked to compare fractions. Using a number line is a great way to figure out which fraction has a greater value. In this case, all 3 lines are the same length, but they have been cut into different sized pieces visually so that you can see where the X represents the greatest length. If we look at the number line in the middle, we can see that 4/6 is greater than 2/4, and 4/6 is also greater than 1/3. Similarly, we can see that 2/4 is greater than 1/3. Keep this number line strategy in mind when you are asked to compare fractions in the next couple of weeks.